What's going on? Happy Sunday.
¿Qué pasa de putas?
Yay!
What was that?
Spanish.
Yeah, I guess that's now the second official language of the United States.
Easy.
Probably.
I think he's talking about your patchy beard, though.
Look, you leave my Native American beard alone. This is what we call in the South an Indian beard. Apache here, Apache there.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are crazy.
And the caterpillar is gone. I love it.
So the 15 minutes of lame is going, and the reels are getting serious now.
Yeah,
spicy, man. It's spicy.
Loving it. I'm loving it. Been glued to all the reels, and I think they're actually very, very creative. So it should be good. Hopefully there's some more punches kept getting thrown.
There definitely has to be more punches. It's they've actually been very soft right now. It's like a I don't know, a schoolyard fight with girls. You know what I mean? Like it's been really gentle.
Gentle.
There's not been like in our year. There was one person that we all just kind of bullied because he was old and been in the industry for 63 fucking years and should have been in the contest to begin with.
I don't know if we bullied him, but yeah.
He just caught Sabo after Sabo, and there's not somebody like that yet, and it surprises me because I 100% thought Sky High Morse was just going to catch Sabos this whole time.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get beat up too. And the two people that I thought were gonna do it fucking did absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
so it shows some resiliency for Brian and Holly at Sky High.
Let's show some love to the people in the chat. Like I don't know, people like Crystal because people actually showed up.
This is amazing. There's actually people. What's up, Kevin?
Thanks for showing up, Kev.
Sammy Vargas. He's not throwing any Sabos. He's like, love me. I wear pink. Love me. No, Sammy, be mean. Be mean.
He can't. I don't think he can.
No.
I don't think he can either.
Yeah, I don't think he can.
Kevin showing love right out of the gate with $20.
Yeah, thank you, Kev. Keep it coming.
Oh, speak of the Devils there. What's up, Brian? And Holly.
So did anybody understand what they were asking? Like I saw the video and I was very confused.
He was asking people to be lame and not mean.
Okay.
Fuck that.
Tag, what's going on?
Back one. We missed it.
It was me. It doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count. Tag.
What's going on, Mike?
Mike, what's going on?
Mike.
Miss Wood?
My lady. Alicia.
Classic.
Okay, again, they're way too nice, and I have a hard time taking them seriously because they're so nice.
They're classic.
They are. They're super nice. They're gonna have to be meaner.
Kai, we appreciate Kai.
Oh, look at this guy.
I know. His next comment is a dig. Go fuck yourself, Luke. Just because you're big, and you're ripped now doesn't mean you could talk all the way across the country. All right. The world.
Mr. Richard.
Creative Corlufus.
There he is.
What up, Sloan?
Darren Sloan? What's going on, Darren?
That was pretty funny though. That was pretty funny when he pulls the belt and it's this big. It's like those midget reels. Fucking amazing.
The real Python Prince.
The second best stripper.
Oh, Charlie.
This guy.
Charlie. I still think he's going to like every future shop and punching in on every phone, and I don't know how he's doing it.
Dude, he is just running away with the popular vote right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's got to be his kid because he's kind of a douche. At least his kid's cute, you know. I mean, but he's kind of a dick.
Well, he did talk about on one of the other ones. He's got the school basically voting for him. So
that's good.
I think it's the school.
Anything you can do, man.
So he used the school Paul used the prison.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, one's a prison one way, one's a prison the other way. You know,
definitely the same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
So, yeah, I was like, you know, I was seeing all the reels, and I'm like, I got to just tell them where the belt actually is, so we can stop watching these videos of people doing backflips and cartwheels down the road, saying that they got the belt. I'm like, it's just easier to say it's under my tree.
All I'm saying is, we wouldn't have this issue had somebody used red line shipping.
Red line.
And he went there.
Actually, you know, yeah. All right.
Red line shipping would have saved the day.
So it is what it is.
Anyways,
new belt coming.
It's awesome.
One's lost in the Great White North, so we got to get a new one.
You know, I'm trying to save you guys shipping. I figured if I go and pick it up, then this way here you don't have to ship it here in the new year.
Did I see that you guys have snow already?
It was snowing pretty heavy today, but like
it looked like it was a pretty good snow.
Yeah, we got a couple inches.
Everything shut down.
Fucking
filthy fucks, man.
It's like we're synced up. What's up?
Right? So, Crystal's been working her little butt off. You know, she's trying to pimp herself out as much as she can. This is a hard cookie to crack. You know, it's really hard for people to push the button twice. You know, click the link and then scroll all the way down and click on a button. It's difficult. Either that or they're getting lost and they're seeing Charlie's name and click on that one instead.
I don't, like I said though, it's not that. It's that it's consistency of, because people will vote, then they won't vote the next day.
But even more than that, like because the amount of views that these reels are getting, there's a lot of views on all these reels.
Right.
It's not correlating to the amount of votes that they're getting. So more so, I'm just saying, everybody click the link, click twice, pick any goddamn name, and just get it done.
You're lucky that they double click when they're scrolling through Instagram and like the reel. That's what it is. They're just lazy. People are lazy and they don't want to go through the process of clicking this link and clicking this link. And most of the people, honestly, are afraid that it's a scam and that they're going to get some kind of virus.
Yeah. Well, it is bringing you to a fat man nation. So
I remember a few guys at work when I sent them the link. They're like, "What is this? Is this Paul? Did your phone get hacked?" I'm like, "No, man, just fucking click on the link and vote for me." They're like, "All right."
I got the same one this year because I pimping out Crystal as much as I can. I'm actually, I think, working harder on pimping Crystal than I pimped myself out last year. But they're looking and they're like, is this legit? And I'm like, 100%. Just click the goddamn link.
So here's my real question. Why haven't you done a thirst trap for Crystal's campaign this year yet?
Because the
thirst trap.
The thirst trap of Crystal and the boobies would do a lot better than me.
I don't know. You did pretty good last year. The ladies loved it.
There's a lot more pigs in this hobby than there is women. Sorry. I'm just saying.
Hey.
Okay. I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it politely. There's more men in this hobby than there is women.
Most of the votes aren't coming from people in this hobby. It's coming from family, friends, or acquaintances.
Okay, so then Crystal, go to the movies and go to OnlyFans.
Have you thought about starting an OnlyFans, Gerald?
They would only pay to see Crystal, not me.
They might pay to see you.
They may want to see you twirl around on that.
I hear gay porn fucking pays big.
Gay strippers pay big.
Oink, oink.
Yeah, we know Kevin's one of those dirty fucks.
Yeah.
You guys are awful.
Good old Kevin. I love him.
I love Kevin.
So, like, Crystal felt awful because when she was on Fat Man doing the 15-minute slam competition, because we chat with him so often, he did not give her the official chance for her to pimp herself out. So she argued with me and said I had to have her, and I'm like, no, I can't have you on the show. And she's like, no, you're putting me on the fucking show because I want an opportunity to show that I have animals and that I deserve to be here. So
yeah, but the problem is with that is that you kicked her out of the house so she could not take the Wi-Fi, right? So now how is she gonna pimp her shit if she's in another house?
She's in another house. We can't show animals.
Off now.
You're right.
We don't show animals on any of these shows.
Yeah, so what? That's what you wanted to do? To show animals?
No, she's got to pimp herself out and be able to talk about her animals.
Okay.
All they talked about was boobies, and I think it was boobies and maybe boobies, but they definitely didn't talk about animals.
Did they talk about sending you for pizza again?
They probably mentioned it at least twice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's Chris.
You are right, Rich. Absolutely.
She's definitely more, like half the work here is done by Crystal, and the other half is done by Shauna. So without the two of them, we'd be
we're nothing.
Three ugly mugs.
Well, are we ready to bring our special guest on for the evening?
We are.
We are.
I forget her name, but she's going to come on and she'll introduce herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Shauna, let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Snakes in the Fat Man proudly brings to you its new breeder segment, 15 Minutes of Lame!
Hey, everyone.
There she is, Tits McGee herself.
How's everyone doing?
Very good yourself?
Girls, man. She brought the girls with her today.
I did. I'm wearing a Fat Man shirt, too.
Oh, man, Fat Man shirt.
Right. Yeah, I would say you better.
Right?
They're watching. Gerald Alley might send both of us for pizza.
Hey, I got a nice V-neck Fat Man shirt, of course, right? So I've got to represent.
There's Kevin. Never misses a fucking beat. Never misses a beat.
Kevin's awesome.
I have to say, I might want to do more
Didn't
podcasts
expect Kevin
over
to be
here.
that funny.
I love it.
You're going to ask our neighbors to go do the podcast over there because it's one quieter.
The lighting is great. The backdrop is awesome. And the Wi-Fi is better here. I'm thinking. Anyways, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah. I was thinking, so what's the difference? What do they have? Do they have the same as you?
No.
No.
Oh, so they didn't have the cheap
Starlink.
Wi-Fi.
You know what?
Starlink.
Yeah, we're Starlink. She's
that's what you have?
yeah, we're Starlink, and then they are ExploreNet. ExploreNet.
All right.
Kevin brings up a good point. I bet he really is missing those deep, dark secrets whispered into his ears from none other than Crystal.
Yeah, she's not very good with secrets.
She's not good with secrets. Crystal, would you like to tell the chat? Tell these people watching how you threw your husband under the bus and back the bus back over it.
No, see, that's what happens at CRBE stays at CRBE.
Oh, no.
I posted a reel about it, so it didn't stay at CRBE.
So yeah, we were there about 15 seconds in the restaurant. We sit down and Crystal's already whispering in Kevin's ear, which you'd think was maybe sexual, but it definitely wasn't.
It was sexual, just not the way you think.
There you go. And she threw me under the bus and told people about my past job experiences.
That's not what I said. I was telling him about a location of a specific tattoo. So if you're going to say the story, say it right.
That's right. That's right. Thank you.
What location and what tattoo are you speaking of, Crystal?
Oh, something that might mean that you're a little trampy.
Rhymes with cramp.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Gerald, you're the one that went into the story, so I tried
okay.
to skip over it.
No, it's okay. I got big shoulders. I've been picked on by you for now 11, 12 years, so we'll get over it. We'll get over it, or I'll get divorced, one or the other.
It'd be too expensive.
And I don't know what to do with Geckos.
Take half your ball pythons. You better watch it, brother. No, she wouldn't. No, she wouldn't, because they won't sell anyways. It's fine.
Yeah, I've got some pretty nice snakes in those racks too,
Stop talking about that.
So you not only keep geckos, you have ball pythons too.
Well, I have some that are like, we started with VIP Morse, right? So that was how this all started. So yeah, I've been kind of invested in the snakes with Gerald. And then there's some projects that he's working on that were things that I was more interested in than he was. And it was kind of like a combined effort. And then when I got a gecko, I just decided, hey, I like geckos better. So geckos are cool. And as Luke says, lizards for life. Right?
Lizards are pretty cool. Like lizards at the expos are definitely an easier sell to new reptile enthusiasts than snakes.
Yeah.
Getting over that fear of snake, you're saying, compared to a lizard?
Yeah. So like when people talk about snakes, everybody's if they've never had a reptile or whatever, they're kind of standoffish. Where when you're talking about when you're talking about lizards, they're all intrigued. And even when you're talking about angry lizards, because they just assume they're all friendly. It's kind of like a biased opinion that they have.
Yeah, and like we just had a high school friend of ours actually came over a few weeks ago with his daughter because she has a real interest in reptiles and has been a huge fan of like snake discovery and wanted to check out the different reptiles that we had. And she really liked snakes. And then she came into the gecko room and was like really blown away by the geckos too. And they were looking at getting a pet for her for Christmas. And the gecko was definitely the easier sell on the mom. So she came to pick up a gecko yesterday. So that
here's
was
a
cool.
question for you, Crystal. You want to answer this for him?
Sure. Shoot.
It's on the screen.
Oh, it's on the one on the screen. Can you keep the geckos in a racking system? You can, but they're arboreal, right? So the hatchlings are a lot easier to kind of because of how the racking systems are. But when you're looking at getting into like when they're, more of a juvenile, an adult, you're looking at you needing something with more of a height. So if you're getting a racking system, it has to be for arboreal. There's a lot of people that make their own as well, where they can just kind of slide in the bins into a racking system. It kind of makes me nervous. I have a couple of hatchlings in a racking system to try to test it out, but because they're sticky feet, right? They'll climb and they'll kind of come up on the sides. I'm always nervous that they're going to get their foot or something stuck when you're sliding the rack in and out, or their tail, like the tip of their tail. So that makes me nervous. So I don't personally use them with all the geckos I have, but I
know Creative, he said he does his racking system, I think, with lids.
Yeah, so he was saying today that he has a racking system, but they're all bins in there with lids. He might correct me if I'm wrong. I think he was using the racking system maybe without lids for the smaller ones. But yeah, and a lot of people do that. The other one that's really popular is there's these containers from the Container Store.
That's right. I was going to say Tupperware store, but it is Container Store. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Container Store, and they're stackable, and they'll kind of set them up, and it's like almost like a shoebox size, and you can get bigger ones as well, where the top part ends up being like the front door, so it'll open out. So those are really, really popular too. We don't really have a Container Store here, so if I bring it over, it's a little bit more pricey to kind of ship it over. Because I've looked at different options. I bought some stuff on Amazon to use as well, and they're magnetic. So I found like if the gecko's too heavy and he's on the door, like you have to find something to like tape it shut somehow, or else they'll like pop the door open.
Well, you're just gonna have to drive down here, and then go to the Container Store.
Or just keep doing what I'm doing. I like the setup I'm using, right? I have huge the 64 quart tubs for the adults. It's great. Like it's perfect. I need to get more racks now to stack them up, because I have some right now in adult bins that are stacked on top of each other. So
Right.
I'm gonna have to invest in some more racks on the walls.
So
Yeah.
what got you wanting to do the 15 minutes of lame competition? Knowing it's primarily a snake breeder or ball python breeder contest, what made you decide you wanted to branch out and take this on?
Well, I mean, I helped Gerald a lot last year, right, with his campaign, and we had a lot of fun. I mean, it doesn't come without its downsides, because there is arguments when you're trying to film, and I'm not always the easiest person to give, I'm trying to give directions, and, you know, Gerald is maybe not listening to the way I want, and I have so much B-roll where it's me yelling at him, to be honest, where I'm like, do it again, or you're not doing it right, and vice versa.
I love it.
So I could probably release the whole thing and it would be ridiculous. But we did have a lot of fun doing it last year, and just like seeing the exposure you get when you're doing it, how many people you meet in the hobby. When I was approached with the opportunity this year, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do it because I'm Geckos, right? And I kind of thought about it a bit, and I was like, you know, it'd be kind of neat to come in with a different perspective and a different, I guess, community to bring to it, right? And to kind of expand it into geckos and to other people who deal with, you know, lizards and other type of reptiles. So that's why I decided to do it, was really to have fun, and then also to kind of bring a new community to it.
Yeah.
So really we're trying to expand this into a new best rep, or a best new reptile breeder instead of best new ball python breeder show.
Well, that's the angle that I was taking it. Yeah. You know,
I think giving spotlight to everybody that does breeding at some point or another in the hobby is probably a better option at some point and everything. I get it, but how it started with ball pythons, but it could evolve always. That's what I feel.
That's it. Like making this thing evolve when you've got so many other reptile species, turtles, tortoises, jeweled lacerdas, geckos of all shapes, sorts, and sizes. It's a great opportunity to really make this thing bigger than what it is.
Yeah. And
I like that.
The crested geckos too, I find there's it's so new with the genetics as well. It has that exciting feel. And you know, when I hear in interviews of people who are more who've been in the business for a longer period of time, and how they describe you know, when banana first came on the scene, or all the new genetics when it really started to come big within ball pythons, and how exciting it was. That's how I feel it is with crested geckos right now, because we're just scratching the surface of what you can do with all these new genes that have been popping up, and traits, and how they work and interact with each other. So it's really kind of exciting, and it's fun, you know, and you really have that sense of creativity where it's also that mystery as well, where you're like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen if I put this and this together, because no one's ever done that, or has at least not released what happens if they have been working on it, right? So I figured it's a kind of nice segue. We have all these ball python breeders in the competition, and then kind of bring some new spice and some flavor to it.
So let's dumb this down for us, because we are all ball python breeders, and even me being your husband, because I don't listen. What animals do you have, and how do they compare to the animals in the ball python community?
So that's a really interesting question. I'll start with the projects I have. So I have 5 main projects that I focused on, because when I came into crested geckos, I came in with the perception, like really having that ball python experience, that I wanted to be really focused on certain projects, and I wanted to be focused on projects that I felt had the ability to kind of go the distance, and where, you know, you could see a lot of development and cool things down the road, not like maybe stuff that a lot of people are working with now. So one that actually popped up kind of by accident in my collection was Pixel, which is a very new gene. That one, actually Pangea just released their findings about a week or 2 ago on Pixel, where they said that it's they're finding that it's proving out recessive, which is how it's been proving out in my collection as well. So the two parents that I have, the male and female that produce the visual pixels that I have, are both not visual. So to produce that, it would have to be recessive. They both would have to be hets. And I've been kind of keeping track and taking notes on what I'm noticing about ones that would be possible hets, what could maybe be a het marker and how it's interacting with other genetics within crested geckos, like pinstripe and so on. So Pixel is one I fell into, and it's one that I actually really, really love because of the bright oranges. And what it does is it distorts the pattern. So any pattern on the animal ends up becoming pixelated, essentially. So it's like a bunch of little spots and all the edges of the pattern kind of break away, which is kind of neat. I also work with empty back, which is another gene. It's incomplete dominant. So there's been some confusion, similar for ball pythons. Wording wise, it'd be like het red exanthic and red exanthic, how that's not a recessive. Well, empty back's not a recessive either, but some people are calling it het empty back and empty back. I'm sticking with the empty back and super empty back because I find it less confusing. And that basically will strip away all the pattern on the top of the dorsal, so hence empty back. So if you're getting one copy of the gene, it'll start stripping away the pattern. And then if you're getting like a super version, then like the pattern on the dorsal will be completely almost non-existent. And that's the base color of the animal that comes through. With that one, I decided to take it into a different direction than a lot of people are working with, because they're doing a lot of dark base animals with like more of a pinstripe. So we have clear lines on the side. And I decided to take it in with lily white. So I don't know how familiar you are with lily white, but lily white has like the strong white pattern on the dorsal, and they'll have white pattern on the sides and on the hands and the stomach. And so when you're putting in like an empty back, basically you're forcing that pattern to get chewed away on the back. So the hope is to try to create a super empty back lily white, hopefully this next breeding season, where you're going to have the white pattern from the lily, but then the middle dorsal will have the color, the brightness of the base color pop through on the back. So just that would be the second one. I also work with soft scale, which is kind of like an enhancing gene where the scalation is different, so it reflects the light different, and it makes the colors really on the marking, like the pattern really pop and makes colors a lot more vibrant. Hypo is another one which works very similar as hypo within ball python. The only thing is with crested geckos, you can stack hypo through multiple generations in your breeding projects, and it just gets better and better and better as you stack it. So I was speaking to someone yesterday who does ball pythons, but is also very heavy in genetics with crested geckos. And we were trying to come up with comparisons on how the different genes would kind of compare with ball python. So like hypo, I guess the best way I would explain it is it would be a 1-to-1 comparison. It'd be like hypo, but the more that you stack hypo, it almost is more like a desert ghost, where it's even more clean and even more bright and a higher quality of hypo. So those are 4, and I'm missing one. Soft scale, I know I'm missing one. Phantom. Phantom's the other one I deal with, which is a overall masking of a color. So like if you're having, I do with a lot of pattern and lily white. So what it does is it reduces, like let's say you have a gecko that has like heavy pinstripe or side pattern, like a white wall on the side. The Phantom will overall cover that color and almost kind of like you're putting a blanket over it, right? So you'll still see the pattern and stuff on animals that have pattern, but it'll all be like all yellow. Or you can get solid ones like charcoals, for instance, would be like almost black, like a really dark color, just a solid animal. So those are the main ones that I've been working with.
Don't you have Xanthic?
Yeah, I do have Xanthic and I do have Cappuccino. The way I decided to work with those genes is instead of just having Xanthic to produce more Xanthics, I've been using those genes to kind of bring the projects I'm already working with to another level and trying to do something different with it. So like with Xanthics, sorry, go ahead.
How many of those genes are actual true recessive? So like the hypo gene for ball pythons is a true recessive. Is the hypo gene it's not recessive?
There is one. There's a true hypo that is, which is very new. Not a whole lot of people are working with it. And if you're getting 2 copies of the gene for that one, you're getting a basically almost like an all-white animal, right? So you're looking at something that basically looks leucistic. That one is very, very new. The only thing sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, can you stack on that if it's an all white, like you say?
Yeah, you can. It's so new that people don't know how it'll necessarily interact with everything. And that's the thing with gecko genetics, right? Like you're still getting a lot of new stuff that you're not sure how it works, like how pixels going to interact with certain genes. You're just scratching the surface with that. For instance, Xanthic. Well, Xanthic works exactly how it works with ball pythons. It's the same thing. It's recessive. With geckos, it does tend to strip a lot of the color. So you're getting a lot of phantom Xanthics, a lot of empty back or pinstripes, where you're getting the white pinstripe pinning markings on the back and a little bit of like lateral color. What I would like to do with Xanthic is to kind of work with it and try to find a way to bring back more white pattern on the animal without having to use lily white as the influence to bring the white pattern. Because at the end of the day, I would like to use Xanthic in my pixel project, but pixel takes away pattern. So to take away pattern, I need to add pattern to do that, right? So
we've seen, like, especially in the ball python industry or snakes in general, you tend to have people that misuse words, like they misuse incomplete dominant and codominance. So are cresties a lot like leopard geckos, where you end up with more of the co-dominant traits and not the incomplete dominant traits? Because ball pythons are more incomplete dominant than they are co-dominants.
Yeah, there's a lot of things with geckos to really consider, because I never say the word right. They're polygenic. So there's still things that not everyone is still on the same page on how it works. There are theories on how things work. I mean, Little Monsters has a whole genetic, like on their website, they have a whole document, right, that really explains the different traits, the different patterns, markings, colors, like all that, and how it is in theory working, but they're still up to debate, right? Like, for instance, like some people will think that red is recessive and other people might not think that red is recessive as a base color. So it's really hard to kind of understand how it's working when we don't have things like shed testing, right? And we don't really have a normal. So it makes it really hard to see how things are working when you are working with so much already on the geckos that you're using in your projects. Does that make sense? Like with a python, you can take a normal and then you can prove things out to that normal and really start kind of isolating the different genes to figure out what they are and then how they work with each other. Whereas with crested geckos, we're kind of late to the game, where there's so much already in all the geckos that there's some that are really obvious, like pinstripe and such, but then to isolate certain things without having other like traits going on, or, you know, it makes it a little bit more tricky to work with.
You sent a lot of sheds to Charlie, though. He didn't do anything.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. He's a good sport. I've been trying to convince him, and he's like, you know how crazy that would be to try to do that? Like, it would be a nightmare. It's a lot of work.
So when me and Allie came up to Canada and we, visited that show with you guys, it was an awesome time. But one thing that I really noticed about your geckos versus the geckos that I see here in the States, and we had talked about this, but I'm going to bring it up here on the show, is the fact that you go to a show here in the States, most of your cresteds, I would say probably 50 to 70% have dropped their tail already. Okay. And every one of yours that I saw, I don't think you had one on the table that was missing a tail. You didn't have one. and that was amazing. Your animals looked so healthy, so pretty, and with that tail, I don't know what it is about just having that makes you think that animal is been taken better care of. But what's your secret? Like, what are you doing? What do you think you're doing that's so different than what these guys are doing here?
Well, I don't know necessarily what it is that I'm doing that's different. I handle my geckos a lot. I have a collection size that's manageable to me, where I can really look at every single gecko basically every day. Like when I'm going to feed them and even just miss them, I'm constantly checking on them. And, you know, especially with hatchlings, they get a little bit stuck shed on their toes or their tails. And that's something that I stay really on top of. But because I handle them a lot, Gerald dances for them. Yeah, that's the secret. Yeah, so because I handle them a lot, like they have a prehensile tail, right? So I'm constantly like holding their tails and getting them used to being touched and being handled. And I think because of that, and they're so used to being handled and having their tails touched, that maybe that's why they're less stressed dropping them. Out of all the ones that what's that?
They're desensitized.
They're desensitized, yeah. Out of all the ones that we have, so I have a couple adults that I've purchased that had already had their tails dropped when I bought them. I've only ever had 2 tails dropped out of all the geckos that I've produced and owned. And one of them was a forced tail drop because it had an injury on its tail and it needed to drop its tail, like just for the health of the animal. The other one was, I was trying to take photos of this beautiful pixel, and I'm so mad that the pixel lost its tail, but I was trying to take pictures of it and it decided to spaz and take off. And my son was helping me. And when he went to grab the gecko, he grabbed it at the back end and the tail just hopped off because he startled him, right? So I mean, those things do happen. Tail drops usually can happen in pictures and stuff, but I've only had 2. Pretty proud that it's only the 2. But yeah, I handle them a lot. Like a lot.
We saw that, and Kevin even said it. They had their tails, and that's like I said, that's just something you don't see here.
That's pretty cool.
And
yeah,
and some. Sorry, some of the morphs, like some of the patterns too, like they have really cool patterns on the tails. Like for empty back, for instance, you can tell, like they'll have tells on them. So like empty back will have like almost like little equal signs, like little dashes down the tail, and it really like shows, okay, that is definitely an empty back. So there are things like that where the tail that can be useful if it still has it, where you can kind of see, similarities, especially when you're working with, new combos and stuff. But yeah.
I can see that. with all the genetics and everything else, I could see that getting out of hand. How many? So when they lay, what's the process of how many eggs they drop and
Yeah, so it varies by female. So they'll I start my breeding season in around like end of December, January, and then they'll start laying in spring because I give them a cool down period in the winter, and then I'll start warming up the temps in the room. When they start laying, it's 2 eggs. Usually, you'll get the odd female that might be like 1. It's not very common for me, anyways, but. They should, in theory, be laying 2 eggs every 30 days until they're done their laying cycle. I've had new females, like I've had a first time female for her first season lay 10 clutches. So that's 10 months of laying 2 eggs. And she had an awesome season. And then I've had females who have given me 4 eggs that season, only lay for 2 months, and just, and nothing wrong with them. I'm always making sure that their calcium sacs are okay and that they're at weight and healthy and so on. But it really is dependent on the animal, right? Like sometimes they'll lay only 4 and sometimes they'll lay 20, right? So it's on a constant cycle. So they'll lay 2 eggs and then 30 days they'll lay another 2 eggs. I incubate my eggs. You can incubate them at room temperature, but because we don't have air conditioning at our place, and I find that the temperatures fluctuate too much. I'd rather use an incubator so it's more consistent, and I know exactly how, like, when they're going to hatch. So I'm hatching at around 100 days after they're incubating. That's around the go time. So usually when I put them in the incubator, I'll write down when I found them, like when they were laid, and then I'll mark beside them the anticipated hatch date. And that's
that's a long incubation period, though.
Can you dictate male or female between the temperatures?
That's not with Cresties, no. If someone's working on that, it'd be interesting data to know. But as far as I know, the Cresties, I don't. Richard, I'm incubating right now. I only know in Celsius, so someone would have to do the conversion for me. But it's right now it's 23 Celsius is what I'm incubating at for 100 days.
Hey, Paul,
Last year I did 24, but I dropped it this year, and it's. I mean, I've been having similar results, but.
Paul, man, I think Gerald's just really bored because he knows all this stuff. Maybe we should just kick him back and just have the three of us. He's sitting here really quiet.
Don't kick him out. Oh, come on. I like looking at his face.
He does have a cute face, but he didn't look bored. He was just looking like he didn't care.
Yeah.
All right, so now that he's gone, what we really came to know.
Okay, go.
Are you ready for this?
I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Yeah, I'm not ready for it.
I'm gonna keep it PG just because.
I don't know. Questions from you. I don't know if I'm ready for.
So you've been doing this now. You went through with Gerald, and now you're doing your own competition. Seeing the competition that you have in front of you, who do you think? What are your top 3 competitors going into this? Like, who are you really worried about with this competition?
Yeah, you see, I was asked this question by somebody else, and I actually took a lot of time to kind of look into it because there's so many different things to consider, right? There's the marketing, the like how you are at expos, the community aspect, the collection. Like the real answer is there is no competition. I'm not worried about it because I'm the best, and that's my answer. But like I think that there are some people that definitely are standing out, and they're doing a great job marketing themselves. I mean, the Harbins, Charlie over at Regan Renee is doing a great job. Ink Lady Morse is doing a great job. I've the funny videos with Darren that's been coming up too. 319's actually been surprising me, and I had a blast doing the videos with him. So I wouldn't really say that like top. It's hard to say a top 3. Like I have in my mind who my top competition is, and I'm going to keep that to myself. But those are the ones that I'm mainly seeing like are really pushing at it. And really putting a lot of stuff out there and really using the competition to really take advantage of the opportunity you have, right?
Is there anybody so far that's like disappointed you that you were really expecting something out of, that you were excited to see their reels and stuff and they just haven't shown up?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, they got kicked out.
Is it Tito? That was slapping everyone.
Demonic and tradesman.
Yeah, and tradesman. So those 2 I was actually thinking were going to actually come out of the gates like just ripping everyone apart, right?
That's what I thought too.
And I was a little sad that I didn't see all the the scandalous reels that were going to come from them. That would be what I would say would be a little bit disappointing. I mean, everyone had 0 is gone now, so. Yeah. But it would have been nice to see. I think that right now we're having a lot of fun with it. It's been a really clean competition. There hasn't been a lot of real negative or cutthroat, I would say, against each other. And I think they would have brought a little bit more of that, like, picking on people a little bit more.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's multiple people that that are throwing themselves in the ring, Besides, I mean, you still have Jason, right, from basement Python.
Yeah,
Python. He's still doing something. I mean, you got
Tag too. Tag is doing some really awesome stuff. Yeah.
So it still seems that there's more people that are competing than there was last year.
Yeah, no.
Like that, that'll whatchamacallit at some point. I mean, now I think at like this, if there was a second cut, there was like 5 of us or 6 of us, right?
Yeah, I think there were like 6 at the final cut. Yeah.
So and it's funny because I was making a list when I was talking to Shane, and I'm like, blah blah blah, and then I'm like, oh wait, and then there's another one, and then I'm like, oh wait, there's another. And you also got Jay's posting too, which I didn't think he was going to end up posting a lot, and he's posting, and then you got a bunch of people that are in there that are still throwing around. I mean, you got Sammy as well. Sammy,
Sammy's doing, yeah.
Sammy's just too nice. Sammy's been too nice about it.
He's not. He's not.
He's got to throw some haymakers, man.
Yeah.
All right. We can bring Gerald back in. I think he's been punished enough for his time.
He's had his time out. I just think that it's really awesome to see everyone participating in it and really having fun with it. Like, I don't see why you wouldn't if you're part of the competition. Like, the interactions that I've had with so many new people because of this that I haven't spoken to before. Just coming to my page and and people that I didn't even think would support me out of the blue, that I'm just like, oh wait, they're putting something that they're voting for me. Like, I wouldn't even would have thought. And I think that's been pretty amazing. And, just being able to rally with everyone and come up with some cool ideas. Right. And yeah, it's been a blast.
Where do you come up with all your ideas?
I'll give Gerald some of the credit of that. I have to say, last year for 50 Minutes of Lame, I was an idea genius. Like, I came up with so much last year. This year, I have to be honest, I struggled a little bit coming into it. I had an original plan of what I wanted to do. It didn't fully pan out. And then I was like, okay, well, I got to kind of change, my approach. And he's been, I'll give him the credit where it's due. He has been helping me with some of the ideas. Those quick clapbacks, though, like the ones with Ink Lady Morris, I tell you, I'm on that quick. As soon as those videos come out, I'm like, I got an idea for that.
That's what's cool though. Like, you kind of got to pay. You pay. I mean, that was easy enough though. When they had the fake horses, I'm like, oh, the horses. So the horses, I saw that. So that was Saturday night that was posted. And I was like, oh, they're making it too easy for me. But the next day on Sunday, I had the podcast to do. And then we had to go to a family reunion and be there for noon. And the podcast is done at 10, right? So, and depending on how long I'm talking afterwards, right? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, I got to do something. I got to hop on the horse, but I want to do it quick. I have not been on a horse in 2 years. Our horses are feral. That night on Saturday, I brought in the dustiest bridle into my house to clean off and get so it wasn't grimy and it looked presentable. We had all these horses nice and brushed and done. I'm like, I'm getting on the safest one that I know I'm not going to fall off because he's a couch and he's going to be the least crazy out of the 4. And yeah, we did the podcast and we went out, popped a bridle on him. I hopped on him bareback. And then we did the video that morning after the podcast and then went to the family reunion after that. And I was editing in the truck on the way to the family reunion.
Real quick, guys. Hey, look, there's 23 people watching and we've only got 13 likes. So do us a favor and go in and click that like button and make sure that if you're not already, hit the follow button and follow the Fat Man Nation so you can catch this every Sunday as we go through.
Yeah, and
on that note, I'm going to put a quick little anecdotal thing. Join up in the Fat Man Nation Patreon, and tonight he's having a live chat at 9:00.
Right.
So it's not the Patreon though; it's back to the Zoom. So if you want the Zoom info, and you guys are reptile breeders, and you want to come in and you want to, or even reptile keepers, and you want to watch it, it's on a Zoom call. It's back to the old days.
It's back to the Zoom, but you still have to be a Patreon member.
Yeah, you still have to be a Patreon.
Even the free tier, he's opening this one up to everybody. So come on out and have a good time. It's honestly entertaining. If nothing else, it's a great time.
If you want free laughs forever, join the free Patreon for the Fat Man Nation.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun for sure. Yeah, Richard was mentioning a comment about the purple reel, which I had a blast doing, because that video that Chris put out with, this isn't purple and this isn't red. And I'm like, I have a red gecko. I have basically a gecko that looks purple. I'm like, I can have fun with this.
We're good.
Yeah.
Crystal, man, we've had an awesome time chatting with you tonight. And I think we've learned a lot about geckos. Guys, do you guys have any other questions for Crystal tonight?
Thank you very much.
So Crystal, are you going to take the gloves off in this? Are you going to be the one who drops the gloves and goes for those knockout punches?
Absolutely. I mean, you live with me, you know better. Of course I am. The gloves are already off.
I'm hoping that by like the like closer to the end, everyone's throwing haymakers.
Oh, and
I'm really tired. I'm really tired
of
this. I'm really tired of this Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fighting that we've got going on. I'm ready for somebody to take the gloves off. Somebody's got to. I
think it's going to be an interesting debate.
Yeah.
The debate date is between the 18th and the 20th, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody tune in for the debate.
Yeah,
it should be great.
That's it.
Yes,
Kevin. Skull Surfing said
Gecko
it.
Diva.
Go vote Gecko Diva. If she is the one that you guys like and you like the information she's putting out, go vote Gecko Diva. The only crested gecko breeder in the competition this year.
Well, there should be a car driving around in Calgary with paint on it this week. So if you guys see that, please post it. I'd like to see it.
Thanks, Sammy.
Aww.
That's awesome.
So there's a lot of good breeders in this competition, and I tend to split my vote. I'm not telling anybody how they have to do it, but I have friends in the competition on multiple sides. I've got the Harbins, I've got Crystal, Sammy that I know personally. All these people that I've met that I have a good repertoire with. So if you are undecided, go follow these guys on Instagram. Go check out their reels, see what they're doing, and if you have a hard time deciding, pick the funniest reel of the day. That person gets your vote. Pick the reel that you associate with. Whatever you got to do to make the decision, but go vote, guys, because your vote does count to making these guys have the best year and helping their business and promote their business.
Yeah, so last year we had a record amount of votes for the 15 minutes of lame, and this year we'd love nothing more as much as we want these guys to double us, and so get out there and vote and make this one better than last year. And
I think they're pacing the pace the votes now. It's gonna far blow us away from 14.
Well, I'll talk to you in the back room, but we're not supposed to tell them how much better they are than us.
We know we're better. Come on.
I'm not saying that they're better than us. I'm just saying that they have a lot more votes. Like I said, there were 6 of us running, and there's now 9 or 10 of them still in a competition. So shut up.
Somebody else.
Because I'm over here.
I'm going to go back to New York. I'm going to go back. No, but the competition is a lot of fun, and we are enjoying it. I'm enjoying all the reels, and everybody's doing a great job putting stuff out. There's a little bit going out every day. It might not be from everybody, but there's something going out 15 minutes of lame oriented every day. So it's amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it draws a lot of attention to the hobby, to the Fat Man Nation, to the competition, and all of that is good for the hobby.
Yeah, and I want to say huge thanks to all the gecko community that's really rallied behind me, because it's impressive. A lot of people kind of came into this at first when I told them about it, and they're like, what is this 15 minutes of lame thing, right? And I think there's only a couple of individuals that I spoke to who actually knew what it was. And now you have this whole community of gecko breeders that are all there, like, go vote, check out 15 Minutes Lame and fatmannation.com, and that's amazing. Honestly,
you got some big names backing you too, in the gecko community, in the snake community.
I don't do this. I typically don't do an anti-campaign, but if you like me, if you like what I do here, don't vote for Sky High Morphs because Brian's a douchebag. He asked for this. He keeps poking the bear, and I am going to run an anti-Sky High Morphs campaign like you have never seen.
Oh no!
Man.
Just kidding.
Kevin's got ideas on making more cuts.
Brian's a dick.
Make more cuts.
Kevin, you're gonna have to send that idea to the Fat Man himself. He's the one that does the cuts.
Yep. Kevin doesn't get a say because he didn't even compete in this competition. He said no.
I'm going to defend Kevin because Kevin is voting for me.
I don't know who Andrew Heckler is, but fuck that guy too.
It's a lot of work though. Like in all honesty, like you don't want to sign up to it if you don't plan on doing the work, because it is a lot of work. Like you gotta do whatever you're doing normally.
Better.
What?
I said my internet's better. You started cutting out.
No.
I can't even say that Canadian internet because the fuck.
You know what?
You wish you were here and I was at home.
Shauna,
no.
let's help Gerald out here and let's end this. Send her to the backstage.
Bye, Chris.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Snakes and the Fat Man proudly brings to you its new breeder segment, 15 Minutes of Lame!
I was trying to save you a little embarrassment.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. I don't know why.
You're glitching.
You're not glitching.
No.
You're perfect right now. You're perfect.
Right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right this second.
Well, she's got way too much knowledge about something I know nothing about.
Yeah, and the worst part about it is though, it's like you're right there and you can learn and you just don't want to learn. I get it.
I have a hard enough time with ball pythons. Thanks. I just know that I can breed them and not get bit, so I'm doing pretty good.
I pick things up and put them down. I gotcha.
Guys, we've hit about the hour mark, but it was a good show. Crystal gave us a lot of good information, man. She was a great guest. She's very charismatic and she's very informative, and that's what we look for. So it was an awesome show. Make sure you give her a big hug from us and say awesome show.
I will give her a big squeeze.
Good. That's nice. That's nice of you. You should.
But no. So one more time, everybody, and Shauna will post it again. If you guys have the time tonight, 9:00, you guys are going to go on to the Fat Man Patreon. Shauna's going to put the link right here. Join us tonight. It's going to be fun. He's doing a live chat on Zoom call. So it's a great time. A whole bunch of like-minded breeders. Whether you breed or not, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Be advised, this is not a PG chat. So don't have your kids there. Don't have your kids sit on your lap. Your camera has to be on. This is not recorded, so anything that is said there, it stays there. I mean, minus the breeders that it could, be said. They could say shit, but it's a good time. We talk a lot of shit. We crack a bunch of jokes, and it's just fun. That's really what it is. It's just people getting to know each other and talking shit.
Yep.
I like it.
All right, guys.
Everyone have a good night.
I will see y'all next Sunday.
No, see you at 9:00. But yes, see you on Sunday. For the people who don't come.
Enjoy.
Smash that like.
Follow. All that fun stuff.